bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the Patriot Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. It's 100.7 The Score. This is like continuation. Here, I'm going to slide this picture so these girls can see it. This is why I enjoy watching y'all's coach work, because what's the phrase? All gas, no brakes. Mm-hmm. She coaches with all gas, no brakes. She's opening tip to final horn. Coach Glaspie is all business, isn't she? And you guys play that way. You feed off of that, which I'm not just saying that because you're here, but you want your girls to feed off of your energy. And I thought the other day against Dalhart in the championship game of the Hoopin' Cubs Classic, didn't shoot very well, but I thought you and your assistant coaches, I want you to name them here in a second, I thought you guys coached them into playing with more energy.
I talked about today, Allie Hicks and Olivia Robertson are my assistants. Yep. They played at LCU. We, even in practice and stuff, we talked about a lot, like walking on the floor and being the best team, because they've earned it, and they have a lot of respect this year, and they deserve the respect they've been given. And so we just felt like, I told them in that first time out, they just seemed very intimidated, and there was no reason for that. And if they would just play, we talk about walking on the floor and dominating from the opening jump with the speed and the intensity that they're supposed to. And they do it on defense, but sometimes on offense we're a little hesitant. So in that first time out, that's what we talked about. There's no reason to be hesitant right now. You should be, full go the whole time, and you're going to get whatever shot you want, but you have to do it full speed. And so we were trying to get them to play a little bit more aggressive and faster, and, just what we do this year.
And the result was a 22-0 run. It wasn't like explosive. It was like
little by little,
methodical.
We just said that once someone we missed. I read your article and really hadn't realized it yet, but missing 16 of your first 19 field goals is huge. And we just said once someone finally gets the lid off the rim, it'll get her. And we talk about that. If you start the game with 10 missed layups, 2 missed threes, you never get any momentum going. And then once the ball finally goes in, that's when the energy picks up, the crowd picks up, everything gets moving. And so we just said someone just got to get the lid off the rim. Presley hit a 3, Cameron hit a little jumper to go at 5, and that's finally when the rhythm kind of got into it. We ran the floor more, so it just brought our energy up really high. Which
the 2 young ladies you brought with you had a lot to do with that too. Introduce them real quick. People can see them on TV, but I want to make sure that they speak so people can hear them on radio as well.
You want me to?
Yep.
Okay. This is Micah Henderson. She's our point guard. She's a freshman. And then this is Reagan Wren. She's a junior. She's one of our shooting guards. And they had a huge impact on that. And, Micah, I think she had 3 points at halftime and then finished with 18. So she had a big second half once she got going. But at halftime, we drew up a set and told Reagan, the ball's coming to you, and hit this shot and get us going a little bit. And the set wasn't even executed perfectly, but it worked. And she hit a 3 and kind of got our energy up and the bench going. And so they both play a big role for us this year.
So people probably get tired of me talking about my wife being a Plainview girl. She was standing up next to me right after halftime, and I said, watch, Reagan's going to shoot the ball to start the first half, and she's going to make it. That's from being around your dad and her dad, and probably around her dad enough to know that good coaches know when they want to do the right thing. And Micah, what's been fun about watching you, and I think I've said this to you twice, is you don't play like a freshman. You don't get, the moment is never, at least when I've been there, the moment's never too big for you. Where does that come from?
I think it comes from I don't really know. I just kind of have confidence really well because I've played so much, so it just kind of comes easy.
So the Estacado girls weren't here to begin with. They've got a first-year coach, Jay January, and one thing they said, and they said this is nothing against Devin. Devin's an incredible coach, did great things, but a coaching change always has a little tweak. And both girls said, this coach lets us shoot a lot more. I've watched you for 3 years, Morgan. Early on, you were a little bit more, okay, make sure you've got this shot and this. And now your girls they fire away when they've got a shot.
I feel like we had to be a little more, not reserved, but selective. We played a slower game. We didn't have the speed we have this year. So we weren't going to be able to run and gun and play with people. We were going to be able to play our speed, and it worked for us. Slow people down on offense with our defense, but find the best shot every time. But this year, we can play faster, having a true point guard, everyone else that's had to fill that role for us can finally be in their own element. And so we're getting them open for shots. Just like that set to open the half, getting Reagan that 3, she wouldn't have been in that position the last 2 years. And now she is, or Abby pinning at the block. Or, we've just finally are developing into our correct positions. And so we can run and, get more shots off and play faster. And our speed, even in practice, we've added things, is totally different. And it's helped us a ton. And so I think we play a different speed this year. I do. And I think that's why our defense can be a little more aggressive. And, I think that they're really starting to drive, too, with that. So,
Reagan, how different has it been to have a point guard? Now, you and Abby did a lot of it last year, and it was weird to see, here comes Abby, the 4 or 5. She's bringing the ball up the court, but that's what she had to do. How different has it been somebody that can facilitate a little bit?
I think it helps us a lot, especially with, knowing our own roles now, getting the ball out of bounds. I know Micah's going to be there in her spot to bring it up. So I think it makes it easier for all of us to run our break, to get down the floor faster, and it gives us, better options of open shots. And I feel like it takes a lot of stress off of the other ones so that, they have a time to get down the floor. They have a job that they can do. So I think that's a big part that Micah plays, too, because she knows her job and she does it well.
And this was really cool when I sat down with Micah and Presley. I'm going to make Reagan blush, and if my mother-in-law is listening, it'll probably trigger some tears here. When I asked them who was a good influence on them, they both immediately said Reagan. Because you played as a freshman. You had to go through what they're going through with older girls. Was that natural for you, or did you just think, I know what they're going through, I'm going to try to help them feel as comfortable as possible?
I think me being younger and hanging around my dad in the gym and just growing up being around them, it kind of played a role as I grew up to be in the same spot that they were in. So I know what Micah and Presley have been through. I know what the younger ones have been through. So I think you have to be patient with them and give them a chance.
And you know who my mother-in-law is. That's why I said it. If the wind blows the wrong direction, she starts crying. So if she hears that, she's going to cry. Because I did. I went home that day and I was like, this was really cool. They both said Reagan, and she teared up. So we get away from the Dr. Phil stuff here because we got to talk about basketball. You guys have a big game right off the bat in district, and you knew you were going to have 2 of these this year, just for this year. I can't say that officially, but Memorial hosts Liberty to open District 5 4A play. The newest kid on the block plays the old new kid on the block. That's 6:15 tomorrow. It's on Sunny 97.7 FM. We'll be back to talk more about that game after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Liberty Athletics. You're listening to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the second segment of 3 segments of the Patriot Fan Zone. Like I mentioned, Liberty and Lubbock Cooper get stuck with me for an extra 10 minutes now that we're twice a week. And another reminder, this is the last week of the show until January 5th. We take a couple weeks off for Christmas, but I think for me, that second week's off for the Cap Rock. You guys are not in the Cap Rock?
We are.
You are. It's your boys that aren't.
Yes.
He's taking them to some tournament, and Parker likes to make sure that his guys are getting tested. Not that you don't, because you just went to a really good tournament. But I don't know if they made him mad or what. But he wants his guys to really have to work hard.
I mean, I think it's just selective. We got invited to the same tournament, and when I was just looking at it, I like to support the Cap Rock tournament. I think they do a great job. I think it is for a great purpose. I think Lubbock is an amazing sports community. And, we're a local school, and I really like to just, produce a product for them too. And so I went back and forth when to travel and when not to. So when we went to Lorena and got invited to that one, I just felt like that would give us some good different Region 4A games. And then we would play the Cap Rock here. And our bracket is still,
yes,
it'll be pretty salty.
Smaller, but it's...
Yeah, I think it's just selectively when you want to play where and what teams you want to see. Because, on the girls' side, we could go the same one and actually see some of the schools we've played this year already. So just kind of where you want to be and win.
Because Brownfield, the last 3 teams you played were ranked teams, right?
Dalhart, Lamesa, and Hereford. Yep.
So whether you meant to or not, that one turned out to be pretty salty as well. And I hadn't typed this in yet. That's play Plainview right off the bat. That's kind of cool to You know any of those girls? Did you grow up with them at all?
I did. I know pretty much all of them. I mean, they don't really bother me. We played them before, and I think we just have to come out and do our job.
That's a good answer. You didn't. These are no family. One thing about Plainview folks is a lot of them don't move away, so you probably know some of the families, and I'm going to guess mom and dad still know some of them. I don't know if that was by accident or if you always say the NCAA tournament people have a sense of humor when they're making pairings. Maybe the Caprock people do too.
Yeah.
That's down the road. That's December 29th, 30th, and 31st. We got to talk about tomorrow night, Liberty and Memorial. For both you girls, I mentioned that for a couple of years, you guys were the new kids on the block. You got to grow and kind of evolve, and then all of a sudden Memorial shows up and they're going through the same thing. Reagan, have you been able to see them yet this season, or is what you saw this summer is kind of what you're basing your scouting report and your head off of?
I feel like I've known some of them personally just to like know what their standards are in the game, so I feel like we can adjust to them really well, which I don't underestimate them very much, but I mean they play with urgency, they're strong, but I think if we go out and do our job, then we can compete with them.
What about you, Micah? Like she said, you guys see these girls all the time in the summer, which is kind of cool that they added another rival right in your district for this year.
Yes, sir. I think I've seen them play in the summers a lot in AAU, and they all kind of play like the same, just not like slow, but not fast. And I think if we just play really good defense, then we'll be fine.
I think it's going to be a fun point guard matchup, Morgan, because you have your point guard, and Kiana's really good, and she's got some varsity experience. She got some 6A playoff varsity experience. How big a key is that head-to-head matchup going to be?
I think it's huge, and I also think the momentum that this one has right now, averaging almost 20 a game, plays a big role in that, just the confidence of it. And so, the experience does help a lot, but I also think the confidence she's gained the last couple of weeks and, just the belief from her teammates in her. And, they do really well when they're prepared. And I feel like we've prepared really well, and they know what to expect, and they know where to be and when. And so I think that plays a big part in it. So it'll be a good matchup across the board. There's a lot of little matchups they'll have and who they're guarding. So I think the confidence they've gained and the trust they've gained each other and the camaraderie they've built will play a big role in their success.
So I didn't figure Reagan had watched them much because players don't. I know that you and your coaches have done some homework on Memorial. What do they do well?
They're just very smooth. They run the floor. They want to get steals a lot in their zone. They have different scoring threats. They can shoot the three. They can also get inside and play a little bit. So we've definitely talked about the different ways that each one likes to score and the strengths for each one. So we kind of know what to look for. But I feel like we have, when you emphasize defense and relying on defense, you can kind of prepare for anything. So that's what we really zone in on.
When we come back, I want to talk to you about you and your coaches coaching against Jason and Dixie, because that's a lot of West Texas there. I know there was one game that will remind me of. We're going to come back after this break and talk more Lady Patriot basketball on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the Lady Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We are here on a Monday night. This is wrapping us up on the night when we go 2 nights a week after Thanksgiving. It is, I messed this up earlier, so I want to make sure I get it right. Estacado, Monterey, Memorial, and Liberty. Wednesday night will be Lubbock High, Coronado, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper. 6 to 7:20 p.m., 7:30 p.m. I'm sorry, I'm trying to cheat Lubbock Cooper and Liberty out of their 10 minutes they get to spend with me. But like I said, this is the last show of this calendar year. We'll be back January 5th, and we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll have Caprock to talk about, and we'll have, where will you guys be January 5th? You'll be 2 district games this week?
Oh boy, yep. Snyder.
Yep. Do you have one next week in that little brief snippet, or is that your...
We took that week off just so everyone could get a break.
And that's, I think there's probably 4 or 5 teams that are playing, and then I bet they wish they were doing that too. more about Memorial, though. You guys have won 9 in a row. They've won 8 in a row. They've played a pretty challenging schedule early on, too. They've handled a few ranked teams. They've lost a few games that I'm sure Jason wishes they wouldn't have. Before the break, I asked you this. You're still very young. I know you've crossed 30. That's like a big deal. Trust me. It's not a big deal. Sometimes you coach against people you haven't necessarily known for a long time or may not know them, but this is a little bit different. How long have you known Jason? Jason Cooper, the Memorial coach.
Yeah, kind of my whole life, and more so the connection. I mean, there's a lot of connections here. The Sudan, I was great friends with the Logans that played at Sudan under him, and so a lot of connections. But his sister-in-law,
Jonna,
owns Hoop 10, and I played Hoop 10 my whole life. Jonna is one of my biggest role models, and so that's really where I kind of connect to their family the most, is through that relationship.
He was going through, or somebody was going through the resume. The only difference between him and Junior Ashmore, your dad, is I don't think Junior's coached at the college level, is he?
No.
That's really the only difference. But they've been at small schools, they've been at big schools, and they just win. They coach kids and teach basketball, and the apple has not fallen very far. Neither is Jason Cooper's daughter. She's over at Trinity. Do you change anything when you're coaching against somebody you know, or somebody that you know has coached a long time and knows how to move the chess piece as well? Yeah,
I mean, I think you prepare the same way. I definitely do. I know what we're capable of, and from every mentor I've had and every coach I've played under, we emphasize defense so much. And I have just learned, and I've seen and witnessed, that you can prepare as much as you can, but defense is going to play a huge role in the outcome of a lot of games. And we can score this year, but one thing that helps us is they will defend you.
Yep.
And we talk about holding teams to 35 and under, and that's our goal. And that sounds crazy, but they are fully capable. And so I think we prepare the same. Obviously, I mean, Kurt Richardson, Jason, Tyler Helms, I mean, you coach against all these people who have so much experience, but we prepare the same way and go in with the same confidence. And I believe in them and know that they have, everything we've worked on under their belt. I'm just looking because at least the last 4 teams. I'm trying to see what Hereford. So yeah, all 4 of them you kept under 35. Mm-hmm. That's our goal. And I mentioned this in the story. You mentioned that Dalhart that was their season low in scoring, and I think they came in averaging 65 or 70. I think so. Yeah, and one thing that people don't see, or that's not highly talked about, we emphasize turnovers a lot too. And, when they were young, our first 2 years, we turned the ball over a lot, and we just kept working. Last year was better. We're averaging like 11 to 12 turnovers a game this year. We had 8 against Dalhart the other night, which is, rarely heard of in high school basketball, especially girls, because, they just turn the ball over more. So I think that's something that has played a big role in their success, is they value the basketball this year. That's like about how many that Micah comes up with just herself. Yeah. I shocked her the other day. I said, "Do you know how many steals you had?" She said, "Oh, I don't know, 5 or 6." I was like, "No, you had 11." Yeah. Micah, sometimes freshmen don't understand or don't embrace the idea of playing defense. How quickly did you realize with Coach there that was non-negotiable?
I would say, if I just, played defense, then it'll just all come, and yeah.
Because you turn a lot of defense. That's what got you started the other day when you struggled shooting the ball a little bit, and I think you had a couple of steals in the third quarter, and all of a sudden that lit the fuse.
Yes, sir.
Morgan, you mentioned their zone. They are very dedicated to it. Mm-hmm. Reagan, have you seen a lot of zone this year, and do you guys like playing against the zone? Because you're going to have to see it for 32 minutes tomorrow night.
I think as we've started our season with this new year, I think we've had to adjust to a zone a lot more because we're so used to playing games that only run a man against us, which is our strongest, we're really good at running against a man. But I think the more that we played against a zone, the more we adjusted to it, so the better we got with it. So I think could be one of our strong suits now, is playing other teams that run zones against us, because we can create things out of it.
I said this to the Memorial girls. I'm going to guess that there's a lot of people in the gym tomorrow night too. So that's going to make, it's too early to say it's a playoff field, but it's going to be a lot of intensity. That is 6:15 p.m. tomorrow at Memorial on Sunny 97.7 FM. That wraps us up in the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 FM. I'm Randy Rosetta, and we'll be back Wednesday night.